Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience, All-Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All-Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All-Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience searching for work, search All-Star Construction on Indeed.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Industrial Auction is this Friday at 9 a.m., featuring a large selection of 2020 to 2014 Caterpillar, John Deere, and Volvo articulated dump trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
You haven't set your lineup yet, right? It's Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
Just after 11 o'clock, good morning, and thank you for joining us here on Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky, online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com, only available in Leduc. Big news today. Maybe you're celebrating. You want to go grab a nice bag to celebrate with. Maybe you're upset. You got to cope, eat. So you go get some Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Whatever the occasion, it's there for you, and it's delicious, and you get that protein you need to continue on your Thursday. Connor, Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you here from the Sports 1440 studio in West Edmonton Mall. You can always reach us 1-833-401-1440 or email us, Connor at sports1440.ca, Brandon at sports1440.ca, and you guessed it, Josh at sports1440.ca. The news of the day, well, we'll get to it. World Cup's rolling on. We've got golf. We've got Major League Baseball, the Elks in action on Saturday, kicking off their season. You can text an Elks to 1-833-401-1440 for your chance to win tickets to the game. But the big news, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about it for the next, 52 minutes, give or take, before we hand things over to the Lowdown Flow Tide, is Mike Babcock. In all likelihood, going to be the next head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. The NHL statement. And the NHL, when they release statements, typically, they are wordy, they are long. This one is incredibly short. It almost sounds like they wrote it with a little bit of frustration. The NHL today released the following statement regarding the investigation of Mike Babcock. The league has completed its review of Mike Babcock's tenure in Columbus and of certain alleged conduct associated therewith. Our investigation has concluded that even in a light least favorable to Mr. Babcock, there is no current basis to restrict his employment in the league. That's it. Even in a light least favorable to Mr. Babcock. So things didn't look good. But there's no reason to restrict him from coaching in the league. And that should not be a surprise to anyone, because what he did was not criminally wrong. He didn't hit anyone. There was nothing along those lines. He's just a kind of a jerk. And that's what we've known about him. That's not a surprise to anyone. It's just who he is. He's got a tough exterior. He tries to find ways to motivate. 90% of the population says he goes too far. Some say it's just tough love. Now the Edmonton Oilers will find out. And the one thing I do know, in 5 to 10 years, we're going to get some stories about what happened in that room with the Edmonton Oilers. Might be good. Maybe he's the guy. He's won a Stanley Cup. He was the man chosen to coach 2 Olympic teams. They don't pick bad coaches to do that. But there's also a chance it goes horribly wrong, like it did in Columbus and the fallout for Toronto and the stories you heard about with the Anaheim Ducks and the Detroit Red Wings. Now we just wait and see. Get your popcorn ready because it looks like it's going to happen. Mike Babcock expected to be the next head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. If it becomes official, we will let you know. Duke, I don't think there's any surprise with this one. There was stories that potentially it could have got a lot worse with a Columbus Blue Jackets player who, hey, it's 3 years. Maybe he doesn't want to go through it again, doesn't want to open it up. Maybe he's moved on, closed the book or the chapter of that book, whatever it would be. I'm probably butchering that one. But he's moved on. So now we'll see what happens. Your thoughts when you saw this come down initially?
Yeah, like the report itself, I don't know. I think there was maybe a little bit of speculation swirling that there was some sort of smoking gun that was going to crop its head up here through the investigation, because the reports were from several insiders that, as it turns out, the thing we know about with asking to see players' phones and the photos that were inside those devices wasn't actually the reason why he ended up resigning out of Columbus. And there did seem to be something much larger looming. Well, if it came up in the investigation, it didn't infringe upon players' rights to the point that the league would decide that he's not eligible to coach. Like very frankly, Connor, what would have been required to be found to say he is not coaching in the league again? Like something that would be essentially a criminal act. No, am I totally out to left field on that assumption?
I think it would have had to been racial. It would have had to been physical. And that's all I got.
Yeah.
Criminal, obviously.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you. So the fact that he has been cleared is not surprising to me. And it's not going to come with any form of repercussion or discipline or anything like that. He's like, free and clear. Go ahead. If you want to hire him, go ahead. Your choice. And the indications are that essentially since this whole story began, that he is the Oilers' choice. That's who they want to be their next head coach. And I feel comfortable saying that I don't think it's a good idea. I think there are equally appropriate hires that don't come with this baggage and this sideshow that will absolutely accompany it through at least the early going of his tenure with the team. And I would expect, it's a long forecast out, but I expect it to follow probably his entire tenure with the team. And I say that with the understanding that the results could be positive because the Oilers have a lot of good players. There's no reason to believe that, I'm sorry, like regardless of who the coach is, they're a playoff team. They're a team that can contend for a Stanley Cup. You have the two, certainly the best and arguably the second best player in the entire league on your team. It takes more than two players to win a Stanley Cup. Carolina very much proved that here this season. You can. There's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, and the Oilers' approach to do it is top heavy. McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard on the back end, and now it's about filling out the perimeters. And when you only have three guys, it's more than just the perimeters. It's a large bulkier team. But you get my point here. Regardless of results of what the Oilers can accomplish, this will be a story around them as long as he is the coach of it. Should he in fact become so, which all indications tell us he's going to.
The Edmonton Oilers are the most polarizing team in hockey. They've had a list of players they brought in. We know that have questionable past or have done some things, and they've had good outcomes for the most part. This is the next in line. I'm very intrigued now by the press conference when it happens, because I think there's going to be a lot of questions thrown his way and in the direction of general manager Stan Bowman. How are they going to respond? We had spec with Gregor. You had him with Carey's. I don't know if he mentioned it, but he kind of talked about going back to the introductory press conference for Stan Bowman, saying that his goal was to earn the trust of the organization and its fans through his actions. This doesn't seem to go in line with the fans, because we could put a number on it. 90% Duke don't like this. There's some that do. There's some people that say, tough coaching. He's a good coach. You can feel whatever you want, whether you like him or not. But the majority, and I'd say it's a great majority of people, don't like this hire that I've seen. That's our text line, social media, people you run into. There's that small group that just is confused by it. And I maybe that's actually not a small group, but it is certainly something. So in case you're just tuning in, the NHL not going to prevent Mike Babcock from a return to the bench. And we know what that means. The Edmonton Oilers seem fairly invested in him. Expect it to happen. Now, this is the second day in a row that we've got some AI text sent into us. Garrett sending in the definition of light least favorable. Google says, and that was what they used in the NHL statement. To view or interpret something in a light least favorable means to evaluate a person, action, or set of evidence in the worst possible way. It is an analytical extreme of assuming all ambiguities point to bad intentions, guilt, or negative outcomes. This concept most highly appears in legal and investigative context to establish a high bar for guilt or liability. So there you go. That's the NHL, I assume, used their words wisely, chose them wisely, put out the statement. Now we'll wait and see how it goes. It's something. Let's dive into the inbox here because, we want to see what you guys think. Cody says, with Babcock cleared, I'm assuming he'll be our next coach. I'm thinking I have to take a year off from watching and supporting this team. As someone who struggles with mental health, I need to distance myself from this team and the inevitable mess that will result from the hiring. Never thought I'd come to this point as a fan. Jane Victoria, how many spots are available in the Oilers lineup right now? Will Janmark be back and is part of the plan? Do they think they're fine as is? Well, we'll have to see. There's going to be an impact. Jason I was sitting here when he got the text and his eyes lit up. Wait till you hear what this agent told me. And it was essentially this is going to impact how my clients view the Oilers. I think he got a second text from another agent about that as well. For guys who want to compete and try to earn a spot, they might welcome that challenge. And it might be fun to come to the Edmonton Oilers. And we know, if this team is winning hockey games, it's a great spot to be in. You play with some really good players. But undoubtedly, there will be some players who say, you know what? I've heard enough. It's followed him everywhere. That's the thing.
It's not a one-off.
Yeah, if it happened in the early 2000s, it's okay, he learned from it. And shoot, who was the Ducks? Ducks had a coach that was there, then left and came back. Did they not?
Randy Carlisle?
I think it might have been Randy Carlisle.
Randy won the cup, was fired later, replaced by Bruce Boudreau, and then was rehired again in 2016, 2017.
And I think he discussed how players have changed. Things have changed. You have to adapt. So if Mike Babcock went to Toronto, we didn't hear anything, you'd say, okay, that was a blip in the past. He's moved on. He's changed. Didn't happen. If he went to Columbus and there was a change, we would have said, okay, so he's evolved. Maybe he has. You can't rule it out. I love a comeback story. I'd love to hear him come in and, be a little bit different. Be the tactician he can be, but, also not call his guys out. We'll wait and see if it's going to happen. But for a guy like Janmark, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. Matt Leduc says, is Steve Simmons going to be in town for the press conference? How many has he talked to around the league? Well, that would be funny. I'm sure Steve Simmons will not hold back on his opinion on this one, whether it's articles or social media. He was around Babcock. He'll have something to say. I wonder how long his term is if they do make the hire from Greater Man Jay. Probably pretty standard. He's not coming in mid-season like Chris Knobloch did in the past. I would assume 2 to 3 years. If you're going to come in here and make it, probably want to get a little bit of the job security and the cash flow. Ashton says, when does Stan Bowman start taking credit and flack for these decisions over the last few years? Well, I would say on our text line, he gets a lot of flack, a little credit, like Podkolzin, obviously, good move. There is some credit. He would have been there for the Leon Draisaitl extension, Duke, I believe. But, you give him credit for the things he deserves credit for. And then you can be critical of the things he deserves criticism for. That's part of the taking the job in Edmonton or any GM. You're rewarded, compensated quite handsomely, but you also have to live with the fact that you will be criticized or praised in the public eye. And I think he definitely has gotten some of that criticism his time in Edmonton. Kyle says, I'm not avoiding it now. I'm a fan. I'm not a fan, but let's see what happens. I think that's just the thing, right? At some point, Oilers fans, you're going to make a decision whether you're going to take a step back or you're going to go, let's just see what happens. You're a fan of the team. Once the puck drops, you're going to want to watch Connor McDavid, I think. You maybe want to disassociate with post-game coverage and hearing from the coach. But you're going to want to see what Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, this top-end talent on this team does, and you're going to want to watch them. But it's a lot of wait and see. Goalie Greg from the Jungle says, I hate this for the Oil. I don't understand that this dick is the choice. Stanley says, Babs, why do you choose the baggage? It's so distracting. On top of 97, having 2 years left, Cassidy was the top choice. They couldn't get him, so they went with Plan B. And I mean, Duke, you've brought it up a few times. Like, if you want that aggressive, hard-nosed coach, you could find that elsewhere, right?
He's not the only option that exists. And if you want to get into the specifics and say, all right, well, is he a better coach than Craig Berube, then Dean Evison, then, John Tortorella, which is a name that just technically became available a day and a half ago, and a lot of reports that he doesn't have much interest in coaching in Canada. And that's fine. But just to use him as another example here, it's such a cliche, and I've already used it a million times in the past couple weeks, and even before that, probably even, is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, to that texter's point, is what Babcock brings to the table compared to other viable options that much more? Is it worth the extra attention sideshow that accompanies it? I'm not so sure, because his track record as a head coach in the most recent examples kind of tells us that it's not, right? He won a Stanley Cup with the Detroit Red Wings. They were a really good hockey team. Coached 2 Olympic Team Canada rosters that won gold medals. They were really good hockey teams. He clearly has an ability to coach good players, which is something Edmonton has quite a few of. So there's some lining up there, but also when things did get a little bit more difficult, is he a good enough coach to get the best out of others that exist? We saw that as the Red Wings kind of faded out of those dynasty years. Their playoff streak came to an end. They haven't won a first round. He hasn't won a playoff round since 2013, I think the year is. Didn't win a playoff round in Toronto. And then, of course, the Columbus thing is almost moot because he never coached a game, and we know why. So it's an interesting conversation, and it's like evaluating a coach, I sincerely think is really difficult to do because there are so many factors at play. Like, use in Anaheim before Joel Quenneville was hired. Greg Cronin was the coach. Is Greg Cronin a bad coach? Or was Anaheim just a really bad team for a couple of years as they're going through a rebuild? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's only one or the other. The elements like that make assessing a coach's value far from absolute, in my opinion. And here we are now on the brink of this guy who has accolades and accomplishments out the wazoo. He's incredibly decorated at a number of different levels, which shouldn't be understated too, right? World Juniors, in junior hockey, runs in the AHL, and then of course his NHL pedigree, including his Stanley Cup and the aforementioned Olympic medals. So the success is there. I think he's a good coach, but it just boils back to the thing that starts as the text says, is it worth it?
I mean, we're gonna find out
everything that comes with it, and yeah, we are gonna find out very firsthand.
And you know what? Like, and I think you could debate, like, are his best coaching days behind him? I don't think that's totally out of line, because if you go back and we ran through his track record for a long time without that really good Detroit Red Wings team, like, he hasn't had success. He hasn't, as you mentioned, 2012, 2013 was the last time his teams won a playoff round. He got the Leafs into the playoffs, but no success getting out of the first round. For me, it's just so much wait and see. We'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll get to more of your texts, 1-833-401-1440. You can also email us, Connor at sports1440.ca, Brandon at sports1440.ca as well. It's Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhock Beef Jerky.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
The best way to experience Elks football is being there when it happens. From single game to flex packs, group tickets, and family packs. Your seats, your way. Ticket packs available now at goelks.com/tickets. Edmonton Elks. Our city, our year.
You may get up early,
but more than likely, the team at GS Construction have already gotten up before you, grabbed a coffee, headed to the site, and started their day. So while Edmonton wakes up, GS crews are already underground, quietly keeping things moving, upgrading, and laying the new underground infrastructure for our growing city. If you're the kind of person who goes to sleep with their steel-toed boots on, GS Construction wants to hear from you. We're looking for a maintenance foreman as well as a building and yard attendant. Visit gsconstruction.ca for more.
I'm good to go. Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. Mortgagestogo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly. Guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, I'm good to go.
Beer League Slow Pitch. It's an Alberta summer tradition.
I got shortstop. I'll take pitcher. Yeah, I'm just here for the dugout snacks.
When you're playing on the field, you need serious fuel. And there's only one MVP.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
Load up on Alberta's best beef jerky and hit a home run with the team. It's the perfect snack for your summer sports.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky. Because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
You've hauled a 2-bedroom trailer over mountain passes on a cross-country road trip. But today, you just need that epic towing strength to bring the mower over to Mom's. Toyota Tundra. Power for all your hauls. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2026 Tundra 4x4 double cab SR5 from $145 weekly for 60 months and 4.79% APR with $8,699 down. Hybrid available. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Start thinking spring road trips and off-road trips in your new Subaru Crosstrek. Stylish, rugged, and so many features. Standard on every Crosstrek. Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive, EyeSight driver assist technology, heated seats, and LED steering responsive headlights. Plus, with interest rates from 0.99%, you'll love the affordable weekly payments. No waiting, immediate delivery available. Subaru Crosstrek. Visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Here's what you need to know about Lux Windows. We work hard. We come in early, we stay late, we go above and beyond, and then we go a little further. Not for awards or a pat on the back. We work hard so that choosing our windows and doors is an easy decision for you. It's the Alberta way. It's the Lux way. Everything we are is windows and doors. A company born and bred and made in Alberta.
Get the inside scoop for your team on Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
$25. Welcome back. It is Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you here from the Sports 1440 studio. Brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky, online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc. Obviously, lots of news going on with Mike Babcock. The text line is going absolutely bananas, so we'll keep that rolling. 1-833-401-1440. This segment brought to you by elksnation.ca. Of course, articles, podcasts, and more breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth W football coverage online, elksnation.ca. Before we get to that, though, Elks are in action on Saturday, taking on the Alouettes. You can text in Elks to 1-833-401-1440 before every home game the week of, and we'll give 2 tickets away to one lucky winner. 1-833-401-1440. Also today, World Cup going on. Canada is in action. That news becoming a little bit overshadowed with the Mike Babcock announcement from the NHL. Taking on Qatar or Qatar, however you want to pronounce it, from Vancouver. Kickoff 4 o'clock right now. Czechia leading South Africa 1-0. South Africa's defense looks shaky at times. It could be 2 or 3-0. Bosnia, Switzerland at 1, and then tonight at 7 o'clock from Guadalajara, South Korea and Mexico. Oh, baby, that's going to be a fun one. The crowd there should be a little intense. U.S. Open round 1 action. Ludwig Oberg atop the leaderboard, 2 under par. Sam Stevens sitting in second. I think at one point, well, he's tied now. Okay, the website's a little behind here. They're both -2. I'm looking for Canadians here. I have to get all the way down to 3 over par before I can find Nick Taylor. Ben Silverman +6. Ben Silverman +6. He's on the leaderboard twice. Waiting on Yel Maraju and I believe a few others here. Duke, we got to have Corey Connors in the fields down here eventually. He's going to go in at 125. Where does this event rank for you when it comes to the majors in the golf world, Duke?
To be honest, I think it probably depends on the venue for if it flip-flops between 2 and 3, between the U.S. Open and the Open Championship, of course, over in Britain.
Yeah.
So, so when it's at Shinnecock, which it is this year, the U.S. Open, and the conditions are just like the U.S. Open is the event that takes pride in challenging its golfers to the highest level, with the rough being, 6 inches tall, and then the fescue being 2 feet tall, like impossible to hit out of. And you factor that in with a Shinnecock out on Long Island, like the wind and the rain and the weather, always a factor. When there's a Shinnecock, I put it right up there, like right on the heels of the Masters, which is an obvious number 1 for the golf majors. And the actual players themselves have voiced and expressed a lot of frustration at previous times at Shinnecock because it is actually too difficult to play. But I mean, like, I'm sorry, you're pros. Like, does it matter if the winning score is +1 and not -16? Like, you're all, you go at different times, but you're all playing the same course. Just be the best.
Largely the same conditions,
for
the most part.
And I get it. Like, some guys have to play in, like this morning there was a fog delay, and so everything would have been super wet. And now here we are, and you can see on the TV screen how heavy the wind is blowing. And it was actually still blowing this morning too, but somehow not enough to move the fog out. So as soon as the wind gets going, like, everything just dries out so quickly. And, the greens and stuff become near impossible to navigate. It's like, for how good the players have become, and it's like almost top to bottom in the field. You obviously have your higher ranked guys and your lower ranked players, but everyone's so good. I like it when the course pushes back a little bit and says, no, there's no freebies out here. So I love the U.S. Open, and I love it when it's at a really challenging venue like Shinnecock Hills. So I'm enjoying this. I had a prediction yesterday that I thought the winning score would be a plus score again, as it was last time out when Brooks Koepka won it at +1. And the early going here, nobody's shooting super, super low, and it's supposed to kind of be this type of weather with the wind being a factor all weekend long.
Yeah, only 6 players under par right now. 21 mile per hour winds. That's a challenge. I do like that because a lot of guys are bundled up here with the sweaters and that. And then you got like Keegan Bradley. No, just the shirt. It's like the football player equivalent of going out in the snow with no shirt on in pregame. Just like, this is just weather. We don't care. Anywho, let's go to the inbox. 1-833-401-1440. Northside Lewis says, first thing McDavid will do upon the official announcement of Babcock is Google the words Back check. Travis says, I hope the deal for Babcock is 1 year only. Ooh, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it's not very remember everyone what John Tortorella did with Vegas this year, signing a deal through the end of the season, and it's not an interim head coach tag. That is so rare. I have no recollection of it ever happening otherwise. Like you bring in a guy, unless it's like an interim coach taking over for the remainder of a season, but they bring in an outside guy. He's the head coach, and it's a matter of semantics on the title, but it's just through the end of the year. And they actually did part ways at the end of it, which I said yesterday, I'm surprised by. I thought he would come back despite what he told us. That is so rare. So you're talking about wanting a 1 year deal for Mike Babcock. That's not going to happen. And if it does, I will be floored, flabbergasted, taken aback.
The new head coach, Ryan Craig. Any guess where he played junior?
Brandon, Manitoba.
Without even thinking about it?
With Wheat Kings.
Yeah.
I think he did some coaching there too.
I think when you look at the management staff, it's not a surprise. Oily Doughboy says, I would actually like to see Daryl Cates at the press conference since he was strongly behind it. Per reports, I'm with you. I would actually really like to see that and hear him speak and just say, yeah, don't care what you guys think. We're hiring the guy that we think's the best. That could be the statement right there, and people might not like it, but it would say something. Sam says, what do you guys think of the NHL media now that the Oilers have hired Babcock? Well, the NHL media is going to be all over them. Everyone's going to be all over them. This is a story now.
It's national.
It's international.
By definition.
It's making waves all over the place. So it's intercontinental. Yeah. You just put a huge spotlight on your team. And every other team hired a new coach so nonchalantly. It was just we did our in-house interviews. We spoke to people and we made a decision. The Oilers went after two of the biggest profile coaches they could and became headlines. This is irrelevant if they go out there and look awesome to start the season. We'll leave it all in the past. But it's a storyline that people will be quick to bring up if things don't go well.
Connor, I just wanted to quickly chime in. I don't know if you saw it. The NHLPA released a statement following the NHL's statement regarding Babcock's clearance.
What do we got?
Essentially. So I'll just read it verbatim. And it was Frank Saravalli putting this out, but I believe the PA released it publicly. The PA released the following statement regarding the completion of the NHL's investigation of Mike Babcock. Quote, while we found the allegations of Mike Babcock's conduct as the Columbus Blue Jackets head coach very concerning, the league has decided that there's no current basis on which to restrict his employment moving forward. We expect that Mr. Babcock will uphold the high standards required of NHL head coaches, end quote.
Not much more they could do.
This is, we didn't like it, but nothing we can do now. We hope he's better.
Yeah, that's 100% it. Another way to look at it, for Walt says, Mike Babcock was clearly open to the NHL's investigation. If he believed it would seriously damage his reputation or uncover anything major, he likely would have withdrawn his name from the consideration up front. The fact that he didn't suggest he was confident nothing damaging would come out. And we talked about that as well, Walt. Obviously, he knew this would be arising if he were to show interest in returning to the NHL. And I'm sure his thought process was, what did I do wrong? Was I a little tough? Was I doing things that you might not do? Sure. But he didn't do anything that would not allow him to return to the NHL. And I'm sure he knew that. The problem is, it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. Not the Edmonton Oilers, at least. And Gord Oil says terms on Babs would be until further notice.
Yeah. It's a game-by-game contract.
Scooter says, hey, guys, with the potential signing or hiring of Mike Babcock, I've canceled my season tickets after 27 years. Scooter, you're probably not alone in that one.
I was told that someone had texted this in, so it's purely off that information, that if you've bought your season tickets or signed up, whatever, apparently the team makes it very difficult to cancel them. Now, if you hadn't yet committed moving forward, I suppose that's probably easier because you just don't renew. But I have no experience in this field. I've never even broached the idea of being a season ticket holder. Well, you were with the Elks for a long time, right?
Well, it was the Eskimos back then.
Right.
It was a long time ago.
The green and gold.
I had youth tickets from the age of 16 to 28. Couldn't beat that deal.
You're still a youth at 28?
They never followed up.
Did you still act like a youth?
No.
Did you behave youthily?
Worse. I behaved worse with age.
Well, yeah, because that's because you were a cookie cutter in high school.
Yeah.
And then once you got turned loose, though, it was good night, Irene.
I rebelled, and then I got more money so I could buy more beer.
They never should have gave this guy money.
Yeah. Well, what I had from working at the
It's
old grocery store.
It's all relative, Connor. what people like you and I consider having money to other people is just pathetic.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's true. It's true. Steve from Drumheller says they'll probably give Babcock a no movement clause too. Garrett says I want Torts. Players love him. Some players probably love him. Yeah, top end guys for sure.
Torts or Babs?
Oh, sorry, it's Torts. So yeah. Sorry, I've got Babs on the mind.
Rightfully so.
I wanted Torts. Players love him. Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of tough-nosed coaches that players love. Babs doesn't seem to be the one. Kyle, I think nailed it on the nose here. It's simple. Win, good hire. Lose, bad hire.
That could be said about every single coach, regardless of qualifications, history, background. It's the same thing with any player.
Yeah.
Like if Tristan,
but is it wrong?
Like in what way? Like, do we say, if Mike Babcock has success and the Oilers win a Stanley Cup this season,
good hire.
Do we forget or forgive all the things that have been alleged against him?
I mean, hey, people, like, it's a good turnaround.
If you're
redemption.
If you're a fan of the Oilers, I think you are much quicker to do so because that is the nature of the sports fan. You've mentioned it a million different times, Connor. We've talked about it. When they were bringing in Evander Kane, what was the conversation? How could the Oilers do this? This is terrible. I'm out on the team. I'm not watching them anymore. I'm not cheering for them. I'm moving on. He scores a hat trick in the playoffs. Shows a little swagger in the process of kind of taunting the likes of the Kings and the Flames en route to a Stanley Cup final appearance.
Blows the kiss to the Vegas fan.
Or I guess that, to kiss to the Vegas fan, right? Like, and all of a sudden, people love him. They you forget quickly. Now, if he wins a Stanley Cup with the Oilers, do you think all these former players that have these grievances against him are going to let it go and be like, you know what? We shouldn't have been so hard. He won a Stanley Cup.
Chris says people often forget or they're naive to think that we have one of the most controversial and ruthless owners in Cates. The guy's done some shady stuff. This is not us. This is what he's saying, allegedly. So should we be surprised? I think the Oilers are more cutthroat and hated than the Knights. Well, the Knights, I mean, they'll cut bait with players. They'll move on. They'll walk that line. Like they haven't done anything illegal. As much as people dislike them and maybe it's frowned upon.
They're about to have their 5th head coach in their 10th season of existence.
Yeah. If they think you're done, they'll move on from you. They have no issue doing so, even if you're like a loved player in that community. When they did that stuff with the cap and the LTIR, it wasn't illegal. You know, what they're doing now with Cassidy, not illegal. They'll do those sorts of things. At the end of the day, they've been to 3 Stanley Cup finals in 10 years, winning 1. They do it pretty well. JRD says, if the team is behind the hire, then it's all noise. Well, JRD, and that's the thing. Like, there was talk that he was grilled by the leadership group. But as Commodore, Paul Bissonnette, Lynan Ferraro, the list would go on. I won't bore you with names. Have told us, like, they're not the problem. They're not going to have any issues with Mike Babcock. It's the guys who are lower down in the lineup who might have some issues if he continues on the way that he has been. That being said, if you were grilled by McDavid and Drysdale, those guys, like maybe that was the focal point of this air quote grilling that happened. Like, you don't treat those guys that way. You know, let us talk to them. You talk to us, whatever it might be. I don't know. Only those guys really know what happened when they had that discussion with the leadership group and Mike Babcock, who it's looking like could be the next coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Tom says, I'm just curious. Babcock was fired before he even started in Columbus, and yet years later, the Oilers are probably going to hire him. They have to go through the process with the NHLPA and have been cleared. So what happened? Why did they then get let go in Columbus. He's been able to 2 years later be hired in Edmonton. Interesting. Well, was he technically fired in Columbus or did he resign? I thought he technically stepped down from the position. Maybe to save himself and the organization some embarrassment. Hey, the Edmonton Oilers clearly think that he's the best guy for the job. Whether it's the owner, the GM, the leadership group, they feel like that Mike Babcock can get the most out of this team. They said it as the reports. They want to be pushed. Now we wait and see. Tractor Dave says, hey, boys, worst PR move ever. Presser should be interesting when he arrives. No more tickets, beer, and dogs for me. Go Habs now, from Tractor Dave. Mark said, guys, hold on here. How these two elite players need Babs to push them says more about them than the coach they hire. And maybe it was referencing the entire team, not just them. Again, it's one of those things. We are not in that room. We don't know these conversations. All we're going to do is wait for the press conference, see how it's all handled by the Oilers organization, and then wait for the season to get here. RBS says, is this somewhat not on the leadership grounds as well? They let a coach treat guys down the lineup so horribly, and it should be on them too. Where was Stevie Y or Lindstrom when Franson had such issues? I don't know. I mean, maybe it was behind closed doors, but I agree with you. If I'm a captain, let's just say we're talking in this workplace and Brandon is berating an intern, over the top, way too much. I feel like me or Declan or Josh, someone would have to, should step in and say hey, take it easy. Now, maybe those conversations happened. I don't know. We don't know. Those players don't really speak out because those guys don't seem to have issues with them. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll try to get some more of the text. They just keep rolling in here, but we love it. Keep it going here. 1-833-401-1440. We'll try to get to as many as we can, whether you love the hire or hate the hire or you're impartial. We'll break it all down. Coming up next year, it's Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhock Beef Jerky.
Tee up at the 2026 Golf-a-thon presented by Popeye Supplements tomorrow at Rundle Park, supporting the University Hospital Foundation. Play as much or as little as you'd like. Play 1, 2, 3, even 4 rounds of golf. GoTrackSocialClub.com.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit JapaEquipment.com or stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
Hi, I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. We've been tightening bolts and redefining our industry for 25 years. Yes, a quarter century, and we're just getting started. Check us out at Cantork.com. Our tools age better than I do.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Listen up, friends. Operation Pizza is a go at Papa John's. They're introducing new personal pizzas just in time to celebrate the premiere of Toy Story 5. These adventure-sized pies come in new exciting flavors like Sheriff's Roundup, Space Ranger-oni, and Reach for the Pie. Or take your personal pizza to infinity and beyond by creating your own flavor just for you. Order 2 or more with Papa pairings and get yours for only $9.99 each. New personal pizzas are ready for takeoff. See Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5 in theaters June 19th.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This deal's only good till 6 o'clock tonight. We need your credit card to hold the color. Hold the color. Summer package. Winter package. And the ever-famous re-PDI fee. I gotta pay you to rebuild the car? Does this sound familiar? At Northgate, we do things differently. We offer 0% financing, a great selection of new, pre-owned vehicles. So if you'd like to do business a different way, stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
From the first pitch to the final out. Catch Toronto Blue Jays baseball games live right here. Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season. Sports 1440 is proud to be the home of Blue Jays baseball.
It might have been scraped by the snowblower, dented while door crashing, or crunched at the company Christmas party. At some point over the winter, your car was damaged and it's been hiding under a coat of winter grime.
Then come and see Robertson Body Works. We can take care of the damage and the dirt. This week only, call and book a repair and get a complete auto detailing absolutely free.
But you have to book your appointment before the week is up. Go to robertsonbodyworks.com.
I'm Tim Robertson, and I fix cars.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
You're looking for the best zero-turn mower? Go to the source. Hustler Turf and the Lawnmower Hospital. Hustler Turf started the zero-turn market in 1964, and they're still the kings of quality, durability, and performance. With versatile sizing from 34 to 104 inches, you'll have what you need to make your summer lawn care a breeze. Financing is always available. Check lawnmowerhosp.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Who should start? Who needs to hit the bench? Find out with Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
11:48. Welcome back to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Tons of text rolling in here to 1-833-401-1440. Fantasy Frenzy, as always, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc. A reminder, if hey, maybe you're listening on the radio, you're about to head inside, but you don't want to miss any more Sports 1440 content, well, you can watch us on your TV if you've got a smart TV. Sports 1440 AM on YouTube. We're on Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch, or streaming on iHeartRadio. Tune in. We've got the Radio Player Canada and Sports 1440. Our website actually has it as well. So you can keep us on the mind throughout the entirety of your day, and we'll keep you up to date when, I'll say when or if, but like bold when the Oilers make the hire of Mike Babcock. In case you missed it, the statement from the NHL today, it was a short one. Said the league has completed its review of Mike Babcock's tenure in Columbus and of certain alleged conduct associated therewith. Our investigation has concluded that even in a light least favorable to Mr. Babcock, there is no current basis to restrict him from having employment in the league. End quote. So he is welcomed back to the NHL with open arms. They'll talk about today on the Lowdown with Low Tide. Of course, Declan and Fenwick will be around for that one. They'll be joined by Brian Hedger, covers the Columbus Blue Jackets for the Columbus Dispatch. He'll have some insight on the situation, what happened with Babcock a couple of years ago in Columbus. And then on the Jason Greger show, quite loaded here. We'll be joined by Landon Ferraro, who, of course, played a few games under MB, Mike Babcock. David Owens will be by from Sherbrooke Liquor. Celebratory? Maybe that drinking? I think it's actually World Cup themed today. TR joins us for an hour, co-host of the show, former NHLer, star of Shoresy. We've got Dan Rosen from NHL.com swinging by. Colin Livingston. We'll get to the stats of the day. Spec, Jason Lawad of Cattail Crossing, Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. And hopefully go to Montreal, talk some Alouettes as well as they head into the city tomorrow. And then, Jays baseball's on right now. Quick little update in the sporting world. Breaking news, Vlad Guerrero went yard. That's a big deal. As the Blue Jays, it's travel day probably taking on the Boston Red Sox. Do we have a score? Is it just 1-0? Was it a solo shot, Duke? Yeah, 1-0. And then World Cup action. South Africa actually tied it up at 1 apiece, taking on Czechia. Czechia scored super early. My computer just doesn't like refreshing, so it still says 1-0 for me. But it is 1-1 in the 88th minute. South Africa scoring on a penalty. And like I said, I thought their defense, there's a chance for some through balls. Czechia just could not complete the passes. Canada in action later on today. It's going to be awesome. In Vancouver, looking to pick up their first win. Let's hope it happens. Oh my goodness. Let's hop into the inbox. Weeg? Oh, change the name. Gene the Courier. Babs will find a way to motivate the bottom half of the lineup. The group just became more competitive and accountable. Fear is a good motivator. Well, hey, it worked, I guess, for the Red Wings when they won their cup. King of Fort Nasty says, morning, Cons and Duke. Hallie, what do you mean if the Duke was berating an intern? Have you heard at the morning show? Poor Josh and Mac. Does this happen? Do we have to? We don't have an HR department, I don't think.
No, it's since been removed since Jackie Ray's retirement. But yeah, if I was berating an intern, I don't berate, I coach.
That's just coaching. Well, you did ask to see my phone that one time.
That was unrelated.
And didn't you make fun of Josh's shoes once?
No, he's got some decent kicks.
Told him to grow up.
Listen, I've taken issue with any number of people inside this workplace. I can say with pretty good confidence, I don't think I've gone to the levels of, say, Mike Babcock with his interactions with his underlings.
No.
And the thing is, I don't have any underlings. Interns, as soon as they're brought aboard, immediately rank higher than me in the power structure that we have here at Sports 1440.
You're like Dick Vermeil. You're lovable. Sometimes you cry when things get really good. You know?
I'm very emotional. Guys, I never cry.
We're all
only when I listen to Come Sail Away by Styx.
Iron Mike says, thanks to the fans for canceling. Or non-fans. I was able to upgrade my season seats. I feel like we're just saying things now. Even though and I said it before, like, and I've said this multiple times, like I'm skeptical when people say, well, I'm canceling my season tickets or I'm done watching this team. Because I think you can watch the team and still, air quotes, hit them where it hurts. Like maybe you're not going to any games anymore. Maybe you were just a casual into a couple games. Heck, people will probably fill those seats still, but you're not going. You're not going to buy the jerseys or the shirts that you might have in years past. Maybe at Christmas you bought your family members a jersey or a hat, whatever it might be. You know, there's other ways where you can voice your displeasure, and maybe they take a hit. Who knows? We'll wait and see. But I just think when you have a guy as good as Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Levin Bouchard and whomever else they add this offseason, you're just going to want to watch. That could be me. Like if someone is so fed up with this team and this group and they're able to just cut all cords and say, you know what, I'm out. Good on you. High character, high moral values. But I think a lot of people will kind of utter those words and maybe they do little things, but geez, like there's a potential. You're watching the last couple of years of Connor McDavid in Edmonton. That potential is always there. So I think like we get to October, November, you're watching Hockey Night in Canada, but not Hockey Night in Canada. You just want to watch 97 out there. Tough to cut the cord, I think. Duke, what are you watching tonight? It's on the tube.
Connor, what am I not watching?
Well, the Jays aren't going to be on.
The Jays are going to be on.
Golf is over
during today.
Well, I said tonight.
Well, I'm going to watch
watching World Cup.
Oh yeah, I'm watching World Cup. 4:00, I'll be seated. And the benefit of the Jays playing early today is that there's not going to be any overlap. I'm not going to have to go multi-screen. I can solely focus my attention on the footy as I did last Friday when I was taking the game in a first round downtown. Great venue to watch the game. Turnout was awesome too. So if you're looking for kind of that fun, fan-filled environment to watch, I would assume all the World Cup games, because we know how multicultural Edmonton as a city is, and we have transplants from other countries that still have a lot of affection and affinity for their home nations participating in this tournament. I would think the environment is great for all the games, but Canada in particular, it was a sea of red jerseys, Davies, David, down the list, awesome spots. So I would definitely put them on my list of recommendations to watch World Cup action. And I'll maybe check out the because the golf started late today due to the fog warning, so there'll still be some decent amount by the time I get home to take in from Shinnecock as well.
Can you believe that Layla Edwards went 4th overall in the PWHL draft?
I was surprised.
Man.
I thought her and Harvey would be the pretty obvious 1-2 picks.
She went 4th.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sarah Swiderski.
First Canadian off the board at 9th overall.
Yeah.
Oof.
Izzy Wonder went 13th.
Name.
There's a few Canadians, but man, it took a while. I'm worried. These Americans are getting too good at hockey. We'll take a break for 23 hours. Up next, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide. They'll be joined, they're going to talk some, Brian Hedger will join them. That's what it is, to talk some Columbus Blue Jackets. Then we got Gregor, Fox Sports Radio all night, and then carry us back again for a Friday edition tomorrow. Right now, though, let's get to a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Cattail Crossing, the early bird deal every Saturday and Sunday from 6 a.m. to 7:30. $50 for 9 holes with a cart and a Caddy Shack snack voucher. Book now at cattailcrossing.ca. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The NHL has completed its investigation of Mike Babcock and alleged misconduct at its time with Columbus, and he has been cleared to coach again in the National Hockey League. Quote from the league statement, investigation concluded that even in a light least favorable to Mr. Babcock, there's no current basis to restrict his employment in the league. Elsewhere, Washington Capitals extending head coach Spencer Carberry on a multi-year deal, and the Boston Bruins announcing this morning this upcoming season they're going to retire the number of former captain and Stanley Cup champion Patrice Bergeron, that being number 37. World Cup action underway from Atlanta, Czechia, and South Africa tied at 1. Switzerland and Bosnia-Herzegovina will get underway at 1 o'clock in LA, and 4 o'clock kickoff from BC Place in Vancouver. Team Canada going up against Qatar in both teams' second match of the tournament. Both had draws in their opening games. Nightcap game, Mexico, host nation from Guadalajara, taking on Korea at 7. In the majors, Blue Jays wrapping up their set in Boston against the Red Sox. Already underway. They lead 1-0 in the top of the second. Vlad Guerrero Jr. with a solo shot to open things up. And the Riverhawks will look to avoid the sweep at the hands of Wenatchee tonight when they take on the Apple Sox south of the border. Finally, U.S. Open from Shinnecock Hills on Long Island. Sam Stevens atop the leaderboard as we speak. He's 2 under through 15. Top Canadian at the moment, away down the list as Nick Taylor is tied for 35th. He's 3 over through 12 holes. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Brendan Douglas at your Sports 1440.